Hello. What computer should I talk about?
Tell them about the Amiga 567,000.
Okay, let's just talk. So, do you want to hear the story of the GUI?
What's a GUI?
Okay, a GUI is a graphical user interface, an operating system, a type of operating system that started in the 1960s, and then in the early 1970s, Xerox Palo Alto Research Center started making the first computer with an internet, a GUI, and something that nobody's ever heard of until now, a mouse.
What's a mouse?
What's a mouse? Okay. It's a pointing device used on all GUI operating systems. And that's simple. You should know that.
And what were you saying about the Amiga, Commodore, blah, 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 blah,
Wait,
blah?
can I finish?
Yeah.
So, with the Xerox Alto, it was, I think, the first computer with a paint application, and you can also put pictures on your documents, which that was pretty cool for back then. And you can also send your files from one computer to another, called electronic mail, or also known as email. And we started in the 60s.
What were you saying about the Commodore that you were just
Or
telling
Bennett.
Daddy?
Oh, the Commodore Amiga 1000 is a computer with 4,096 colors, perfect to the artist. And it had sadly, it had no hard drive, so you had to get 1,000 floppy disks. Which, that wasn't the best, but you could make films, animations, art, and with no less character than it would be with a tablet. And it had a 4,096 color display monitor, and a monitor display, a mouse, a keyboard, and also you'd have to put in a Kickstart and a Workbench floppy disks to start up the computer. Without those two floppy disks, that computer would basically be useless.
What's a Kickstart?
Kickstart's to start up the computer. And you might ask, what's Workbench?
What's Workbench?
It's a GUI operating system made by Commodore.
Oh.
And the Amiga 1000 came out in 1985. Or 86. I don't know. And other related operating systems. So, Apple Lisa. So, in 1983, Apple made its first GUI operating system. And in the early 80s, a little bit earlier, Apple went to Xerox Palo Alto Research Center to learn more about it because they invited them. He did not get internet, so he just added the GUI. He really, really liked that idea to make the computer very easy to use. Then came Atari, which, yeah, that was pretty cool. And it was color, unlike the Lisa. And then Mac, and then Windows, and then Tandy Deskmate, and Apple II GS, Sun OS, OS2, or OS2 Warp, and yeah.
Okay. Mommy has no idea what you're talking about.
Warp came out in the 90s. 1996.
What is Warp?
It's an IBM OS. And OS2 is also an IBM OS, which started in the 80s, Microsoft. So, yeah.
Alright.
And Windows 1.0 and 2.0, a lot of errors. And also, did you know that Windows 3.1 had some Easter eggs, too? So there would be, just research that on YouTube.
What's the Easter egg?
You know, on Google, like those Easter eggs and like
Tell
cool
me.
stuff that you can do with computers, like that nobody's heard of. Like, it's hard to see. So, yeah, it's pretty hard to know about unless you research it online. Noah told me about the Google Easter egg.
Google Easter egg.
Yep, just so one is Google in 1998, I'm feeling lucky.
Mhm.
And there's also Google in 1980, I'm feeling lucky.
Mhm.
And there's Pac-Man on Google. Also, I never knew that there was a a calculator on Google.
Oh.
So, yeah.
All right, go to bed. Love you. Good night.
Good night.